Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do a Gel X fill. The nails I have on now are 3 weeks grown out. They were a full set Gel X. I just want to take the shape down a little bit, make them slightly more almond, and clean everything up. As you can see, they're really grown out. My nails grow pretty fast, so we'll need to do some cleaning up. The first step is going to be debulking all this old product and shortening the nails down. For this, I'm going to use this blue corn bit on my e-file. It's a coarse grit bit that will grab everything. So with a coarser grit, we're going to have to run it at a faster speed. So I go all the way to 35,000 RPMs. If you are ever debulking and have your drill bit kind of jump or get caught on old product, it could be for a couple reasons. One of the reasons is you're running your drill at too low of a speed. That's why I'm all the way at 35,000 RPMs for this process. Another reason is you might be putting too much pressure onto the nail. When debulking or filing or doing anything with your e-file, you're just supposed to be gliding that file over the nail. You don't want to apply a lot of pressure because the pressure can create heat, and you don't want to burn your clients or cause them any discomfort. You can see here how it's just kind of gliding and the product is coming off smoothly. This is because I'm going fast, and I'm just going fast as in a fast speed and using just a very light pressure. With this drill, I'm able to change the direction that the bit is rotating. Right now I have it in the forward direction, and when doing that, you are kind of in a pulling motion, taking the drill from the top of the nail to the bottom of the nail and pulling it forward in the forward direction. Later on, we will utilize the reverse setting when doing some cuticle work, and that would be pushing the drill in kind of the opposite direction, pushing it away from you instead of pulling it towards you. That's when you would want to flip that drill into reverse speed. But pretty much for all of the debulking process, I use it in this forward setting and just adjust my client's nail to the angle I need to get to be able to pull that drill towards me. Another thing I do while I'm debulking is I shorten the nails with my drill. If your client wants them shorter, I just kind of run it at a 90-degree angle up and down, just applying a light pressure to that free edge to take the length down. While we're debulking and removing the old color product, we also want to make sure we're checking for any lifted spots. Lifting would appear kind of by the cuticle or on the sides, and you can spot it by looking for white marks where kind of air has gotten underneath that Gel X tip, or even if there's dirt or other things that you can see underneath that nail. That's how you know that nail will either need to be soaked off, or you just need to use the drill to file off that lifted product if there's just a small part. You can see where I just filed on this corner. It was slightly lifted on that left side of the nail, not even noticeable with the color on, but once we filed that away, you could see that slightly whitish color change on that edge. This coarse grit metal bit also should never make contact with the client's natural nail because it could do a lot of damage very quickly. So even when I am going around those edges, I'm being very careful not to touch the natural nail and just to very lightly buff off that green polish. Now that we've removed most of that old product and shortened the nails down to the desired length, I'm going to just shape them more almond because that's how I want them for this video. I also wanted to show you guys that it's very important to change the angle of the nail when you are filing so that you can see from the sides as well as from top down, because here you can see that the shape looks very good from the top angle, but then when I turn it to the side, we can see how rough the edges actually are. So it's very important to continually change the angle you're looking at that nail while filing. Now that this nail looks good, I'm going to repeat this process for all of the other nails, making sure to check all the angles to get the correct shape and length for the rest of the nails. After filing, we're going to go ahead and grab our cuticle pusher and lightly push back the cuticles. You can kind of feel where the stopping point is. Obviously, you want to be gentle and not push back so far that you're going to hurt your client, but you want to get that old dead cuticle lifted up off of the nail plate so that we can better clean around it and underneath it. Now I'm going to make sure that the underside of the nail is clean where the grow out was. Sometimes the glue can have some spillage and stuff can get caught under there, so I'm just going to use this picker tool to kind of clean out any dirt or anything that I can see underneath the nail. I'm also going to grab this pointed cleaner bit that's going to remove some of that extra glue and smooth everything out from the underside of the nail. With this bit, I'll be going around 10 RPMs, still in that forward direction, and I'm just lightly gliding over that extra glue that spilled out and smoothing everything out so it's kind of one even layer and it's a little bit more seamless between the tip and your natural nail. This step is not crucial, but it is a nice detail to add and helps your clients know that you are taking care of them and noticing all the details. Here's a little comparison. We can see that I cleaned out that pointer finger and thumb already, and you can see there's a big difference between how those look nice and clean and smooth and the other ones look a little bit chunky or like there's something stuck under that nail. The next step is going to be to clean this area of new growth with a sanding band. You can see here that we have these white kind of sticky pieces that are left on the nail plate. This is the old dead cuticle that is just kind of hanging out there, so we want to make sure we get that all cleaned up so we can have a nice smooth polish application. Now I'm only putting my drill at 3 RPMs, so quite a lower speed, just because we're not trying to take away a bunch of product, obviously, because it's the natural nail. We're just kind of trying to smooth out any ridges or clean up any cuticle that's stuck to the nail. I'm just using a very, very light pressure because we don't want to create any heat by pressing down onto the nail, but you can see here how that white cuticle that was stuck to the nail just kind of lifts right off and floats away, and it'll make it a lot easier for us to polish on later. After blending the natural nails into the tips and making sure that everything's smooth and ready for polish, we're going to work on some cuticle work. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that flame bit and we're going to turn the drill on in the forward direction at 14,000 RPMs. Now we're just going to use this to lightly go around the cuticle, starting at the top center of the nail and working to the left side while we're in the forward direction. Later on we're going to do the right side of the nail, but in the reverse direction. So for now, just have it going forward and kind of pulling it towards you again, and we're just kind of sneaking the edge of that underneath that little lip of cuticle that we've pushed up with the cuticle pusher and cleaning out any dirt or any leftover cuticle that's stuck under there. This step, you don't want to use any pressure at all. You're just lightly gliding it and making sure everything's smooth. I also like to take it and file on the side of the finger, kind of underneath the free edge where we've filed that old product away. Sometimes the skin can be kind of calloused over right there, and we can just use the flame bit to smooth out the skin by the free edge. Now, what we're trying to do with this step is create that little pocket that you can see that I'm kind of running my drill bit around and underneath. This pocket, we can kind of like pull on the skin to open it up and move it around. You can see that my thumb is pulling at the side of my finger right now to kind of open that up and get a better view in there. Creating this pocket does not hurt your client or harm their nail at all, unless, say, we were using the drill to dig down into their nail, but we're not doing that at all. We're just lightly separating that cuticle from the nail plate. Now, this step is important later when it comes to polishing the nail, because we will be able to kind of pull that skin away from the nail and be able to get the polish as close as we can to the skin and the base of the nail. So this ensures that your client's manicure is going to last longer. Typically my clients are coming every 4 weeks or 5 with this kind of Russian manicure technique. Now that we've gone over all the fingers, running the flame bit from the center of the nail to the left side, we're going to switch that setting on the drill to reverse setting, and we're going to run it from the center of the nail to the right side, making sure that we're lifting up that cuticle, cleaning out any gunk that's caught in the sidewalls, and cleaning up those calluses that might be under the free edge. Now you can much more easily see that white dead skin by the cuticle that we will need to clip off. It's lifted up and it's going to make a lot cleaner cut when we go in with our cuticle nippers. Now when we're clipping the cuticles with the nippers, it's very important to line up the nippers with the dead skin, and before we're cutting, we're making sure that it is only the white dead skin that's in between the nippers. We want to be very careful not to cut your client during this step, and also be careful not to rip the cuticle, as this would cause a hangnail. So instead of pinching the clippers shut and ripping them away, we should just be cutting continually instead of nipping and then pulling. Now my nails are all prepped and ready for our builder gel application. This part, I'm just cleansing the nail and making sure we're getting any extra dust off of the nail so that we're going to have a nice and smooth polish application. You can see that I'm kind of making a corner out of this lint-free wipe with alcohol to get under that cuticle pocket and make sure I'm getting any extra dust out from under there. In this demonstration, I'm using the brand Luminary for my builder gel. Here I've grabbed their primer and their Clarity Base Builder Gel. In this pod and in this bottle are the same exact thing. They're both the builder gel, just in a different form. The brush applicator is easy to use as the base coat, and then I like to use the pod for more control when making my bead of builder gel. After cleansing our nail with alcohol, the first thing I'm going to do is grab the primer and apply it to the new growth. I don't apply the primer to the whole nail, but only the natural nail and the grown out part. Make sure you're being careful not to get the primer on the client's skin, as some primers are acidic and can cause tingling. After applying the primer, we don't need to cure this layer or anything, but we're going to go ahead and grab our builder gel base, which is the same thing that's in the pod. It's just plain builder gel, and I'm going to apply this over the full nail with the brush, so from the new growth over the entire tip. This base layer is very important for our builder gel fills and builder gel overlays, because if we were to skip this and just go in with our large bead of builder gel and apply that over our client's nail, the gel curing process in the lamp cures the gel from the top down, so there's no way for us to make sure that the gel closest to our client's nail bed is fully cured when we have a thick amount of gel on there. So this base layer makes sure that we have that one slip layer fully cured, and it's protecting our client from possibly having uncured gel touching their natural nail for 3 weeks. Two of the main causes for gel allergies are having gel polish on your skin and having uncured gel polish on your nails. So one way we can prevent having uncured polish is to do this base layer. This protects our reputation as well as the client's nail health. After applying the base layer to all 10 fingers, have your client fully cure their nail in the lamp for 60 seconds and grab your supplies. Now I'm going to be using the pod of builder gel, my 8mm liner detail brush, and a builder gel application brush. I'm also switching the setting on my lamp to flash cure mode, as we will be going in with a thicker layer of gel, and the flash cure mode eliminates heat spikes. Now I'm using my application brush to grab a nice bead of builder gel that I'm going to apply near the base of the nail where most of that product will be needed. I like to keep a majority of my gel in the center of the nail, slowly moving it towards the edges to try to prevent flooding of the cuticles. And you can see that I'm swiping a thin layer of gel over the rest of the nail, but keeping most of it at the base and at the center. Now I'm going to pick up that liner brush and slowly drag that gel towards the edges, being careful not to let it spill over to the cuticles. I'm also going to take this liner brush to make sure the gel's in the center and at the highest point of the nail, or the apex, is in the center of the nail. The builder gel is pretty runny and could easily flood over to the sides of the cuticles or lose its shape. So after each nail, we're going to cure that in the lamp on the flash cure setting. So once I've finished up this thumb and I'm satisfied with how it looks and the smoothness of it, I'm going to go ahead and cure that in the lamp. And after curing on the flash cure setting, I'll do another finger, cure that finger, and just go and do all the fingers one at a time. After all of the fingers have been cured under the flash cure setting, I'm going to put that whole hand back in the lamp and cure it under the 60 seconds full cure setting. Now that I've flash cured this pointer finger, we can see what the apex and the shape of the nail is supposed to look like. It's not very tall, you can see, compared to the nail that I haven't filled yet, but we can see the line of light ensures that it's smooth and not very thick, but has a nice shape to it. Now I'm going to repeat this for all of my other nails, flash curing them one at a time, and at the end I'm going to fully cure this hand for 60 seconds. Now that I've finished the builder gel application on this hand and cured it in the lamp for 60 seconds, we can check on that shape. You can see that they are not the same thickness over the entire nail, but get thinner towards the cuticle and towards the free edge to form that apex or that high point in the center of the nail. Now, although we had a good application, sometimes there are some spots that we need to clean up, so I'm going to take our red corn carbide bit. This is a finer grit than the blue one that we used for the removal, and this bit I will use to kind of clean up any uneven parts of the nail. Before we go in with that carbide bit, I'm going to take a lint-free wipe and some alcohol to wipe all the nails off and kind of scrub that tacky layer away, because the builder gel does not cure smooth, but it cures with a tacky polish layer that needs to be wiped away. Next thing I'm going to do is clean up the shape. I'm just taking my hand file at first and going around all the edges to clean up any gel that might have spilled over the side of the nail and make sure the shape is still consistently smooth. After this, I'll go in with my red corn carbide bit at a speed around 20 or 22,000 RPMs and just lightly go over the whole nail or the areas that need refining to make sure the application is smooth and ready for polish. Now that I'm happy with the shape of the nails, I'm going to use a fluffy brush to remove any dust from the nails and a lint-free wipe with alcohol to wipe down the nails again, making sure there is no dust in those little crevices by the cuticles in that pocket. I'll kind of fold it into a corner and use my finger to get any dust away to make sure we're having a smooth polish application. After this step, I don't use a base gel polish or anything. I will just go in with the gel polish color, curing each layer for 60 seconds, and then following with my design and top coat. Now I forgot to film this part, but after all the nails are cured and we have the top coat on and cured, the last step will be to finish file the nails and bevel our nail file at a 45-degree angle, just going around the free edge, cleaning up any loose gel and making sure the edges are all smooth. That will be the last step, and that's how you do a builder gel fill.